Welcome everyone back to SoundWell Guitar. Today's video, I'm actually going to be doing kind of a review on a tab book based on a personal experience that I had. But the story is kind of funny, and I know that tab book reviews are very popular on YouTube guitar channels, especially when the tabs are really bad. I've never had any interest in doing that because I think all the best ones have been covered, but this is truly a personal experience that I had with a student about 10 years ago when he came into his lesson with this book. Now this is somebody who tabbed out Kurt Cobain's performance at the MTV Unplugged series. This is in 1994. If you're not familiar with what that is basically where MTV would invite a band to come and play their studio stuff, but unplugged, that is, you just using acoustic instruments. So Nirvana did one of these performances in 94. So again, a student came in, brought this book, and wanted to learn the song Penny Royalty. Now it's important to this story for you to know, I didn't see the cover. He just came in and opened up to Penny Royalty, put it on the stand, and proceeded to ask me to help him with it. He said he was having some difficulty with it. I thought that's funny. Sorry, the book's not staying open. Okay, there we go. Stay. All right. I thought it was strange he was having trouble with it because he was a strong intermediate student, and Nirvana stuff typically isn't really that difficult. And I know the tune off of In Utero. It's essentially just two chords, A minor and G. And the rhythm, too, isn't really that complicated. It's just... That's it. There's another riff, but that's kind of the main one. But he was struggling, and I could understand why. I mean, just look at this. Look at the way that that's written. I'll put that up on the camera there. I was wondering, what is this? Why is it written like that? Now, if I were to play it exactly the way that this is written, it would sound like this. Anyway, that's just me kind of sight reading the first page. That's roughly what it's saying to do. Just playing partials of the chords, just like upper partials, a lot of open notes. And I get he does that, like when he transitions. A lot of musicians do that, like where they go, that little just kind of ghost chord. That's fine. But some of these other things seem strange, like the 1/4 bend on the big string, doing A minor where you're just like, now it's just an A5. There's like the chucking thing. And what is more, I thought it was very strange, because look at this. The book has an A major chord. First it does A minor, then G major, then it does A major, G major, then A5, G major, A5. And then there's other parts I think I remember. It goes to an A major chord when it's supposed to be an A minor. So I looked at that and I thought this has got to be the worst tab book ever, because that's not how you play it. And I pulled up In Utero, and sure enough, it's so simple. Just back to A minor, not A major. And I said, really, that's all we need to do. And he's like, well, no, I want to play this one, like this, but it's wrong. No, he said. You're trying to do the In Utero version. I want to do the MTV Unplugged. That's what this book is. It's like, I grabbed the book and I'm like, oh, my bad. it's different because he's playing it live? Well, I guess there can be some natural variations. And I'm like, fine. I got to check this out. If it was played live, then I'm sure I can find it on YouTube. And so right away I pulled it up on YouTube. Well, I found it to be really interesting because here I see then Kurt Cobain firsthand playing what's been solidified on paper in this tab book by a professional, which was two guys, I think. Pete Billman and Steve Gornberg. Well, here's the thing. Upon watching the video of Kurt Cobain performing this live on MTV, I was like, oh my God, these guys nailed it. They tabbed it out exactly how Kurt Cobain was playing it. Exactly. Because Kurt Cobain, when you see him, he looks exhausted. He sounds exhausted. He's tired. His playing's extremely sloppy. And I don't want to go deep into Kurt Cobain's dark past, but we all know that he struggled with substance abuse. It's very likely that he was on some substances too. All these things contributing to a performance that was less than perfect. And in fact, some things being completely contradictory to how the song was initially written. But I was kind of shocked, amused, at the same time that these people that tabbed out every single mistake. And it is, if you want to play Kurt Cobain's Penny Royalty exactly the way that he did on MTV Unplugged, this book will be a good guide for you. If, in fact, you want to recreate somebody's sloppy performance. And I have to throw this in there. I am not in this video in any way attempting to make fun of Kurt Cobain. Far be it for me to do that. I think he's an amazing musician. I absolutely love Kurt Cobain and his music, and it's so tragic how things ended for him. I'm not laughing at Kurt Cobain. I'm laughing about the book that this exists, that it looks like the worst. There's some pretty bad tab books out there, like Injustice for All, and there's like a Motley Crue, and like The Art of Guitar talks about these all the time, and it's funny. But this one's funny because it totally looks like a wrong tab book, but it is exactly right. And it kind of reminds me of, I heard a story that Frank Zappa, when he was still around, him and Steve Vai worked together a lot, and he put Steve Vai to the task of doing an audio recording of him, that is Frank Zappa, an audio recording of him just talking. He's just talking. I don't know what he was talking about. Maybe he's just talking about what he had for breakfast that day or whatever. It's just a conversation. He's just talking. But Steve Vai's job was to then play back the recording and notate everything that he said rhythmically, into notation. So it shows the note values. It measures the math, the values of all the inflections and how long he held out words and so on. I would have never done that. I can't even imagine how much work that was, how tedious it is, and what's the point. That's kind of what this tab book reminds me of. You're going to go through and tab out this performance that was it was fairly sloppy. Now, that's another thing. Again, I know I'm calling it out and saying Kurt Cobain played this sloppy. It's just an objective fact. People seem very happy with the performance. It's a great thing to watch. But if you're trying to learn it, I don't think you want to go and recreate his mistakes. Now, I did want to spend just a moment before I conclude this video getting more into the aspect of how studio performances and live performances will always be different, and that's what makes them great. I play professionally as well. I'm in a band. I sometimes do solo gigs playing classical guitar. But I can especially attest to when performing with my band, do we sound like the recording every time we perform? No. It's just every show is a little bit different, whether it's the sound or the stage, the mood that we're in at the time. There are so many variables that can contribute to the performance. Having natural variations, varying, being different from what we've done in the studio. Because in the studio, you get to do multiple takes. You don't just do one take and call it. You do a few, and then you sit back, and then you find the perfect performance. When it's live, you just get that one shot. And that's why a lot of people just don't even want to do live. So I'll give Kurt Cobain a lot of credit. I would imagine that if I were on MTV Unplugged, I would have completely butchered it, because that would have been so much pressure. And I don't mind admitting I do suffer from a little bit of performance anxiety, and it does sometimes get in the way of me playing with technical proficiency. So absolutely love Kurt Cobain, his music. Just interesting, though. Yes, live, though, there were some problems. Was not perfect, but then yet it yielded this book that we can now call the best, worst tab book ever, or worst, best tab book, however you want to put it. Anyway, I hope you found this video entertaining, and I'll catch you on the next one.